Hi everyone, welcome to this Revit 2019 tutorial on how to create a custom hatch pattern for this brick wall. So recently I got asked, can you create a custom hatch pattern for a Flemish bond brick pattern? So for those of you not aware, a Flemish brick pattern looks like this. So we've got the full brick and then we've got the other brick on its edge, and you will see it back in my model. I've just got a standard brick pattern. So when I edit this type, edit the structure, and we just look at the structural material, you will see that it has a brick masonry pattern applied. And when I click into it, what I want to do is create a custom pattern. So what I can do in here is I can click the duplicate tool and I can duplicate this fill pattern, and I can just call it masonry Flemish bond. Now when I click OK, that creates the new material, but the pattern applied is still the old type. So in Revit, if you browse into your PC on the C drive, if we look at program files, Autodesk, and then you find the Revit release, in this case I'm on 2019, we go to the data folder and you will see that it comes with two hatch pattern definitions. So I'm working in the metric version, so I'm going to create a copy and simply just place this on my desktop, and I'm just going to open it, and it will open on my system using Notepad. So in here is the list of all the patterns, and you will see that you have each of the names. So before the comma is what you will see, and then after is just a note within the hatch pattern file to keep track of it. So the text that you see before the comma is the one that you will see in the Revit drop down when we go to browse, open our pattern, and then pick it from a list. So in this case I'm going to browse to that pattern on my desktop. There's my Revit metric, click open, and these are the names of all the files that you see. So what I'm going to do pretty quickly is just cancel this, go back to my Notepad file. I'm going to take a copy of, let's say, the UK standard version. So I'm just going to select all, click copy, click to the end of the line, and just put a few spaces in to the text file, and then Control V and paste it. And I'm just going to call the name of this Flemish bond, and in here I'm going to go UK actually delete that. So UK Flemish bond, just click save the pattern, and I'm going to save it into my development folder, and I'm just going to save that file again. So when I click in to Revit, modify my material, I can click edit, and in this case I'm going to go with a custom pattern, and I browse to my development folder, and there's my new pattern. So scroll down here, I will now start to see my Flemish bond, which in this case is a copy of the 75 by 225 UK standard. So I click that, and there I have my bond. So I'm just going to scroll to find my Flemish bond. In this case I'm just going to select it, duplicate it, call it Flemish bond, and then select my custom pattern, which is in my development folder, Revit metric, and then define that pattern to it. So there's my new fill pattern type. Select OK, apply, and that is now applied it to that material, and it's now applied to the wall. So if we take a deep dive into the Revit metric pat file, you will see that it comes with a series of values. You've got 0, 0, so you've got lots of different things here. And just to explain that a little bit deeper, I've prepared a little Word document that basically outlines what the 7 columns are. So if we look at the first one, so the first one is actually the angle of the line. So 0 is parallel to the x-axis, and then 90 will be perpendicular to the x-axis. So if we go back and look at it, so that's in here where we can control whether the line is horizontal and perpendicular to the x-axis. So a simple 0 90. You can even start doing the angles. So the second one is the coordinate origin on the x-axis. So basically you've got an x and a y. So if we go back and look at it, so we've got the x value of the line and the y value of the line. Then we have the shift of the pattern. So this actually moves the pattern. I can actually shift it along in the pattern. So if we draw a horizontal line, we want to shift it a set distance so it starts to form these lines. Then we have the offset. So this is the distance between each of the lines that we want to repeat. So each horizontal or vertical line, we can put in that offset distance. And then we have the dash, which is the length of the solid part of the line. So as we come over, it just defines the actual length of the line. And then we have the spacing value. So this is the length of the invisible part of your line. So when you put it in, you can put in a negative value and this will make it a solid line. So you can reverse it both ways. So when we start to look at this pattern, if we want to start to build this pattern into our hatch style, so we can come down in, we've created a Flemish bond. And if I say I want to go, so it's 0 in the angle, and I want to start it off in the bottom left corner, so it's 0x, 0y, and then I want to start to define the spacing. So you start to put in the various different values. You'll see on the first one there tends not to be a spacing, so I'm just going to tab it across, and then I'm going to put in the spacing, and then I'm going to tab it again, and then put in the values. So you space this around. It's a good idea to sort of draw the pattern up sort of in 2D first of all, so you can start to see what way it's working. So you start to go through, you start to build it up each time. And if we were to cheat a little bit, because I've already sort of defined the pattern, so this is the way we want to build it. So I'm going to just quickly copy and paste it. I will provide this in the notes for the video, so I'm just going to copy and paste all this pattern. So it's just each individual line. We're defining each of the distance based upon the 7 criteria from the table. If we go back to my pattern, I can actually just wipe this out and then just paste in my new pattern. So it's now a Flemish bond, and this is all the values that you need. I'm just going to hit save, go back into my Revit platform, edit this material type, look at my Flemish bond, and I'm just going to edit it and then reload the new file. So I should be able to scroll down, and hopefully this now has my new Flemish bond. So we can select OK, then OK again, and then apply, and then OK. So you can see now I have the pattern where I've actually put little 15mm gaps in between it just to show the definition, and that's all just controlled. You can see in here where we have the 15 and the 65 spacing, so we're actually just controlling each of the individual spacings, and I've just worked out all the distances based upon this simple table. So you can see they're pretty easy to do. It's just a matter of knowing where to look, finding the Revit pat file, and then simply editing the values to suit. And as I said, I will upload all the documents and the text layout for all the numerical values. So hopefully join me again soon and you will be able to create some of your own custom hatch files.